Hey, what's up, guys? John here. President Donald Trump said to brace for this extension of this overseas crisis for at least a few more weeks.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. But whatever the time is, it's okay, whatever it takes.
But Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, said to brace for inflation instead.
How offsides would this market be if there were truly a stagflationary shock?
One of them would be, inflation. I call that's the skunk at the party. So it's been coming down, but it seems to maybe have leveled off around 3%. If things make it go up, but I do think when we have that cycle, it will be worse than people expect.
The cost of living is set to increase more and more and more in America.
Americans say that they are struggling. A new report reveals 69% say their income is falling behind the cost of living.
The cost of living in America right now, it got even more expensive last month. New data showing inflation of 3%, the highest it's been all year.
But as all of this is unfolding, it's very important to pay attention to what the big money is doing in the background. Citigroup, Bank of America, Blackstone, Pretium Partners, they're investing so much money into these two areas because they believe that due to what's unfolding right now in America, this is where the big money is going to be made. And I agree with them. In this video, I'm going to show you what's unfolding and why I think that the time is running out to get rich. Please hit the like button. When you do, YouTube will share the content, educate more people on what's going on. I mean, this situation is just ramping up so quick. Higher gas prices are likely coming to the pump as the oil prices jump in the wake of the U.S. strikes in Iran. The price of oil surged Monday as President Donald Trump signaled that the conflict between U.S., Israel, and Iran would potentially be drawn out for longer than a few weeks, raising concerns that the global energy market would face disruptions as a result. U.S. crude oil surged more than 7%, while Brent, the international oil benchmark, surged 9%. For U.S. crude oil, the move pushed prices higher by nearly $6 a barrel. Now, this is way bigger of a story than gas prices. Home insurance is going to go up. Roofing materials, HVACs, I mean, everything that we get for our homes mainly comes overseas, right? We're importing this. And so if those costs are going to go up and it costs a lot more to rebuild a home after a fire or after some problem, an insurance company has to come out of pocket for that, and their costs are going to rise, they're going to push those costs onto the policyholder, right? So home insurance is actually going to continue to go up. Energy and utility bills are likely going to continue to go up. And so the cost to own a home is going to go up. But household staples on the other side of that are going to continue to rise as well. And so across the board, we're going to see rising costs. I don't think there's any way around that. In January, prices rose 0.8%, much more than expected. I can only imagine what the next report's going to read. Jamie Dimon warns inflation could soar beyond expectations as U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran sparks terror fears. And according to the New York Fed, serious delinquencies have increased for credit card balances, mortgages, and student loans. Now, here's how bad the situation is. 72% of Americans struggle with bills, and 48% pay late in the last year. Nearly 40% of Americans making $250,000 a year are paycheck to paycheck. That just shows you how distorted this economy is. In 2019, if you were making $100,000 a year, that was considered rich, according to CNBC that did a survey with 1,000 people. $100K a year was the number. Now $250,000 a year is paycheck to paycheck for, almost 40% of Americans. If we continue to move in this direction, what's that number going to be next year? 300, 350,000? You're going to start seeing people saying that's paycheck to paycheck. In most big cities like New York, LA, San Francisco, that probably is, right? But are we going to start seeing this trend shift into other markets? I think it's very likely. Nearly 3 in 4 Americans say that the current economy makes it more difficult for them to pay their bills, and about half say they paid a bill late in the last year. However, while 30% of Americans say they're less able to afford their monthly bills than a year ago, another 31 are feeling more able to do it, right? Because of the K-shaped economy. LendingTree surveyed 2,000 American adults about their bill-paying behaviors and beliefs. While the results show that many Americans continue to struggle, they also highlight a divide in how they feel about paying their bills. Now, if inflation continues to move upwards, which I think many people now are agreeing with, if that happens and U.S. consumers are tapped out, So small businesses and medium and large sized businesses cannot push their higher cost onto the consumer. These very companies will be forced to automate to reduce their expenses to operate their business so they can stay in business. And so here, America isn't ready for what AI will do to jobs. There's been many surveys coming out saying that they think it's going to be, like Anthropic CEO came out saying that they're not ready. Next 5 years, saying that white collar jobs are going to be, they're basically going to disappear. Some estimates are 50%. So if that happens, imagine the K-shaped economy. It will grow more and more and more. And these business owners, many of them that can't automate, are going to sell. And who are they going to sell to? They're going to sell to someone who can, right? We're going to see a roll up of many small, medium-sized businesses, and we're going to start seeing, inside the silver tsunami, a lot of these retirees that have worked on building businesses for 20, 30, 40 years, they don't have children to pass the businesses on to, or they do, but the children don't want the companies. They're going to get rolled up, and they're going to roll them up and use AI to do so. And so we're going to start seeing this middle class just get completely removed. Blackstone, for example, they're launching a data center fund. The last couple of days, they've been talking about this, that they're raising capital from outside investors to acquire data centers, right? Because they realize the demand for data, the demand on AI is going to grow over the next couple of years. And inflation helps that story. You have Pretium Partners. They are now, they're 97, 98,000 single family homes inside their portfolio. Like, they're a major, major player. 2,500 houses they're looking to acquire, all with Section 8 vouchers. $2.5 billion also build to rent, and a $250 million partnership with Walker and Dunlap for affordable housing and bridge loans. Citigroup, they're putting $60 billion into affordable housing, February 25th, last week. So when you have Pretium Partners saying they're going to buy 2,500 houses, you have Citigroup saying, yeah, we're going to step in and we're going to commit $60 billion for acquisitions, constructions, and rehab of long-term financing of affordable housing, including essential workers and low and moderate income households, development offering supportive services, and towards lower cost rental options than higher price markets, right? So as this middle class starts to move, if $250,000 a year, you have 4 in 10 Americans making that are paycheck to paycheck, if inflation continues to roar, you're going to start seeing $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 a year salaries being considered, affordable housing. That's the direction. And so if you're an investor and you're acquiring properties that are affordable and you have no debt or fixed rate debt, you're going to be well positioned because you're going to have an increased demand for that inventory. And we're going to be walking into an inflationary environment where builders will struggle to be able to build properties for a price point which you're acquiring them for, right? So there's this big race to affordable housing. Bank of America, just 2 weeks ago, they're saying they're going to commit $7.4 billion in financing, creating 11,000 affordable housing units in 2025. Right, February 12th, 2026. Since 2020, provided $42 billion to finance 74,000 units, addressing increased affordable housing needs. So this shift is moving so fast, but not as fast as household debt. Right? Household debt, we're sitting at $18.8 trillion in Q4 2025. This year, I'd be shocked if that number was anything less than 20 trillion in household debt. The debt's just going to continue to go upwards because consumers will have very little choice if the cost to feed themselves and their family goes up to not swipe that credit card and finance it at 25% over the next 5 years. Right? They're gonna swipe the credit card, and the lenders are going to be the ones that are going to benefit from it. Monthly debt up 1.38%. Home equity line of credit up 1.24%. Student loan up 16.19%. Auto loan 2.95. Credit card debt 7.13. All other 5.3, all 3.26. And what does this mean for U.S. home buyers? Buying a home the next year, 2 years, 3 years is going to become very challenging. Because if you think about it like this, if you have over $6 trillion in money market accounts just sitting, you have deep-pocketed family offices and Wall Street firms sitting on all this money, and inflation is going to continue to roar, where are they going to put it? They're going to put it into assets. That's what they're going to do because they have no other choice. They're going to buy companies, they're going to roll them up, they're going to buy data centers, they're going to buy affordable housing, they're going to buy a lot of distressed debt in both commercial and multifamily real estate, they're going to buy farmland, they're going to put the money to work. That's what they're going to do. They're going to put the money to work. And so as this continues to ramp up, the everyday American home buyer is going to be struggling to compete with these deep-pocketed investors, right? And so if it's a $500,000 house and they put 20% down, you come up with $100,000 as a down payment and then finance $400,000 with increased insurance and taxes and utility bills, you come out of pocket, $4,000, $5,000 a month, all said and done after your maintenance and repairs and everything. That's a lot of money for a $500,000 house, right? If you live in a big city, you're not buying a house for $500,000, you're buying it for $1.5 million, right? So how does this formula work for the everyday American going forward? It doesn't, right? But there's so much money and opportunity inside of this shift. Like there's so much opportunity here because when you have all of this wealth sitting in the hands of the American middle class and this dynamic unfolding, many people are going to be forced to sell. And with power of the internet, power of AI, all the opportunities at everyone's fingertips right now, there's more than enough opportunity to go out there and build something and acquire assets and put the money to work, right? Buy things that are going to produce income and preserve purchasing power. At 1.2 trillion credit card balances increased by 44 billion. After remaining stable in the previous quarter, auto loan balances rose by 12 billion to 1.67 trillion. Student loan holdings increased by 11 billion to 1.66 trillion, while home equity lines of credit balances jumped by 11.6 billion to 434 billion. This situation, I think, is the inevitable. The U.S. national debt is increasing between $6 to $8 billion every single day. So with no change, $6 to $8 billion a day. I think that's going to remain stable. If anything, we could start seeing that grow. Now, if that continues to grow, what is that going to mean for inflation? They claim here that this is according in which the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, and Washington Post project could happen by 2033 or 2034, that we're going to hit 50 trillion in debt. That would mean home prices could hit $550,000 to $600,000 is what they're saying. They're saying mortgage rates would be going up to 7.5% or higher in a stable scenario, more volatile scenario, 9%. Let's say they're 7%. Let's say home prices are at $500,000. Let's say low end, that's what happens. How does someone making $150,000 to $200,000 a year play that game? They don't. Like what I think is going to happen from now until 2033 is 500,000 then will be like 200,000 today, right? It's just going to continue to move and move and move. What we've been taught about money over the last 10, 15, 20 years that, if you make six figures that you're set, it's now basically seven figures and it's going to continue to move in that direction. The money itself has really no value. They print it into thin air and we all work for it, right? The same is just going to continue to just move and move and move, except the difference is the savers are going to be the big losers in this dynamic. You have to know how to make the money and allocate it and protect it and continue to do that to grow as inflation gets a lot worse. I mean, what do you think about this situation? Where do you see all this going over the next 2, 3, 4 years? Do you think we're going to hit in the next 50 trillion in debt? Do you think we're going to see inflation continue to ramp up in 2026 and there will be a race to assets? Let's have a conversation about this below. Please hit the like button. When you do, YouTube will share the content to educate more people about what's happening in the U.S. economy. And I'll catch you next video.